Oh, alrighty then. Hi there, I'm Anthony. I do all kinds of things here on the internet. For those of you who are uninitiated, I lived in the Philippines for 3 years. I am currently stateside, but that doesn't change the fact that I have lots to tell and lots of experiences and whatnot, and it also doesn't mean that I won't be back here again maybe soonish. I don't know. We're gonna on that now. First comment comes from Daniel C. He says, hey, email me back about the teaching thing. I will. You know what? I'm actually glad you called me on that. Long story short, I went to go help a friend of mine sell some fireworks a couple of states away from where I am now for 4th of July, and I got majorly sidetracked there for about a week and a half. Sorry about that. Okay, I'm gonna lay off the comments for a little while, and I'm gonna kind of get into what this video is gonna be about, because this is gonna turn into a video later, and I really want to keep people sort of on track for that. So this video is going to be about what is this video going to be about? It's a really good question. So this video is going to be about my dating experiences, as well as the dating experiences of my friends and colleagues. A lot of them are expats, and I've actually gotten a few technically Filipinas, to sort of chime in on their dating experiences. Now, I need to be very clear in saying that there are going to be a lot of things here that either come from my perspective or other people's perspective, and they may be true in those instances, but they're not necessarily true across the board. And just because I say something like, it's my experience that this, that, and the other thing, does not necessarily mean that that is going to be the case for everybody in all cases. I need to say that mainly because I always seem, when I do these kind of videos, to get a lot of comments, with people saying, actually, that's not the case. And then they, sort of, show things from their world point of view, and I get that. I totally want to encourage, tell your stories, tell me, from your experience what's up. But just because you have a slightly different experience doesn't necessarily mean your experience covers everything, or that it negates the experience of others. So come on, let's try to have this as a conversation between all of us. And yes, I do move my hands a lot when I talk. Get used to it. That's just kind of who I am and what I am and whatnot. So, yeah. Let's see here. So, right. So, let's talk about a few little things. Actually, you know what? Before we get into some of the stuff that could be seen as maybe negative, I want to actually pull from the opposite side. Now, I know that there are going to be a lot of foreign guys coming to this video because they're thinking about moving or retiring in the Philippines and all that stuff. That's great, but I want to show something from the other side. Read a couple of messages from some of my Filipina friends and sort of get their take on things. And again, just because these things are true for them and from their experience and from their opinions does not necessarily make all the stuff I said before, but about them. All right. So first things first, we're actually going to, I'm not going to be using real names in all of this. So giving people code names or nicknames or what have you, simply because. Okay. So, So I asked somebody that we're going to call the Snuggler. So I asked the Snuggler, what would you say your attractions to expats is? I know that we're all different in many ways, but if you were to simplify it to just a few concepts, what's up with that? And the Snuggler replied, it's the same way that expats like exotic-looking people, I think. It's not the look that they're used to. So new, different looks are more attractive and interesting, which kind of plays to the novelty concept, right? I've said previously in other videos, sort of equating the feeling of what it is to be a white guy in the Philippines is kind of like if you happen to be from the States and you have a friend with an Australian accent and the women just flock to him. It's kind of like that. And when I say flock, of course I'm being overly dramatic, but you know, anyone who's ever been in that experience where you've got, you know, a friend or whatever, and they're a little bit exotic, they're, you know, they've got that, like, je ne sais quoi, as they say in French, then you'll kind of know what I'm talking about. And apparently my Filipina friend here says it's very similar. Hey, Eric de la Cruz, how you doing? Okay, so let's see here. And also, the Snuggler replied that most people, and that most white people look like the movie stars that they watch in movies and on TV, which kind of plays into, you know, the whole thing. And I mean, I kind of get it, you know, and I don't think that this person that we've nicknamed the Snuggler is, I don't think that they're trying to do the whole, like, all white people look alike. No, I don't think that's what they're trying to say. But I think that there is a certain credence to that. If that, you know, there are certain, you know, very distinctive Anglo-Saxon features that are shared, you know, within the in-group and all that stuff. I kind of get where that's coming from. And yeah, it makes a lot of sense. This is a thing that we'll go into later. In my younger days, I was told, not so much because of how I looked, but because of my sometimes overly flamboyant actions, that I reminded people of Jim Carrey. In fact, one of the jobs that I had, somebody nicknamed me the Cable Guy because of that. And that's the thing that I've always had. So if you ever wanted to yell at me in the comments because I have a tendency to, you know, do that kind of stuff, just remember, that's something that I've been having trouble with and fighting, and this is part of my personality. I've been doing it since I was like this big. I also tend to get, who's the other one? Some people say that I act like Jack Black, but really it's just me. It's kind of who I am. All right, moving along. Let's see here. And the Snuggler also adds in that there's also sort of the, you know, the concept that some people see, like, dating an expat or a white guy as sort of the American dream, meaning like they're taken out of the Philippines or whatever. Though I will say that, yes, I personally have had experiences with this, and we'll get into that here in a minute. It's not like crazy rampant. It's a few bad apples that spoil the bunch. Okay. All right. So we are going to go to another person here. And this person, we are going to call Whoviana, because she's a Whovian. So I asked her a very similar question, and she is a full-blooded Filipina type person. Well, I don't know. Maybe somewhere like further back in her genealogy, maybe like mixed. I don't know. You know what? I'm assuming. I'm just gonna say full-blooded. I don't know. And I'm not getting into that whole big old mess. Okay. She says that she has experienced a few frustrations with the language barrier, and this is actually somebody that I know really, really well. And my experience, I'm again kind of guessing from my experience with her and the person that she is dating, that it's less about actual communication, because Juliana, she speaks perfect English, as far as I can tell. But there are certain things that you know, don't always translate well. Like just, you know, with English, for example, English, there are like 32 different ways of saying everything, and it's not just what you're saying, but also how you're saying it. Like I've noticed that a lot of Filipinos and Filipinas tend to say the word record for both the big flat, you know, black things that you put on vinyl discs, as well as when you're recording a video. Whereas, you know, depending on where you're from, you may say record. It's a little bit different stress. Maybe it's that kind of thing. I don't know. I don't want to put words in her mouth, but, you know, I have kind of seen that kind of thing. And also, like, in groups, you know, of course you want your significant other, if you're a Filipina or a Filipino and you want your expat significant other or person you're dating or whatever, you want them to, you know, share in your world, meet your friends, etc. Everything doesn't always translate. So like, you know, your cousin, your Filipino cousin tells a joke in Tagalog, and or, you know, whatever your, you know, chosen language is, you know, from the Philippines, whether it be Visayan or whatever. It doesn't always, it's not always funny in English. Also, there's the thing of, you know, your friends or family who are meeting your, you know, your expat significant other, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever. Sometimes, you know, it puts pressure on your friends and your family to speak English, which there is, from my own experience talking to Filipinos and Filipinas, as well as what they've told me, as well as what I've heard in comments from other videos that I've made that sort of touch on this subject. There is a sort of performance anxiety. Even, you know, Filipinas and Filipinos who speak, you know, amazing English, sometimes there is that little bit of performance anxiety where they're like, I don't know if I should, you know, or whatever. Like they maybe fear that they're going to be judged or whatever, or that, you know, who knows what the case is. I mean, there are people who know. I personally can't judge on that, and I don't feel that I have a lot of experience, you know, to back up, you know, anecdotal experience to back up what I'm being told here, and what I've been told in the comments, because I just can't speak to that life experience, but I trust that other people have had it and that they're telling me the truth. Okay, also, Juviana, she goes on to say that there are also there are struggles with stereotyping. Like, for instance, that if you're dating an expat or a white guy or whatever, that he must be providing financial support. Or that, you know, if you're dating a white guy, he must have lots of money or something. There are those stereotypes, and, you know, there are always, well, not always, but there are, you know, oftentimes, you know, there are assumptions made. So that can kind of put a damper on things, you know, when on the Filipino side, you know, just, I guess my point is, if there are any expats or, you know, whatever watching this, keep in mind you're not the only one adjusting. You know, this is a big adjustment on both sides. Let's see here. So Juviana goes on to say that there are also cultural differences, and that it's a positive thing, because it's interesting to learn about each other's lives and culture, find out how different growing up is in both places, and all the things that you have that they don't have, and all the things that they have that you don't have, and, you know, what the difference was there. Let's see here. And then I made a joke about tall guys in jeepneys, which I don't think I'm going to repeat here. Let's see here. Oh, okay. So Juviana goes on to say that she really enjoys taking her significant other to do local experiences. You know, things that Filipinos are super proud of, and that, you know, just really aren't so much a thing, you know, elsewhere. Let's see here. Let's see here. Yeah, and essentially she kind of boils it down to say that it's always a fun experience sharing your culture with other people and having them appreciate it. And I think that really goes for both sides. Okay, so the comments section has kind of blown up, and I'm scared. I'm really scared that I've already cheesed somebody off. But let's see. Let me dive into this, and we'll get into sort of my prepared remarks on this. Oh my goodness, this is a heavy comment section. Oh, okay. David Gilman says, "Hey Anthony, I'm kind of a new follower. Found you about 2 months ago in Cullman, Alabama. Going to the Philippines August to marry my Filipina and get my residency. Wanted to say hi and thanks for all your videos." You're in Cullman? I'm in Northwest Alabama near Huntsville. You should come up and say hi. Let's see here. MSRB21 says, count my experience. Nope. You know what? If you want me to tell your story, please do email me. If you go to the About page on my YouTube channel, type me out an email. I would love to do something. I am always looking for interesting new takes and stuff like that. So if I get something wrong, either tell me in the comments, write me out an email if it's a little bit too personal or whatever, and I'll try to work it in somewhere. I try to do my best there. Let's see here. Papa Gal, come to the point, man. Hey, I'm trying here. Let's see here. At least he starts to lose. Actually, yes, I have lost, since I've been back stateside, I've lost 20 plus pounds. Oh, and here's another thing, random off the topic thing. People yell at me all the time in the comments for being a fat pink pig. And I want you to know that in these videos, when I'm pink, it's because I'm sunburned. I don't know how well you can see that, but yeah, I don't do sun very well. I am pote. For my non-Filipino, non-Tagalog speaking audience, that means I'm white. Let's see here. Yeah, there's a person who's going to get banned. David Gilman says, I have a chubby Filipina because that's what I prefer in a woman. Hey, rock on. You do you, man. Hey, Anthony, catching you live from my vote. Oh, my God, you have a boat. I am so jolly. I want a boat. I just want to borrow your... Can I borrow your boat? That'd be awesome. Let's see here. Papa Gal. Anthony, you tend to not get to the point and always tell your stories. Oh, I got a super chat. I have a super chat who didn't say anything. Oh my goodness. I don't know how to respond. That's my first super chat. I don't know how to respond. I'm like super, super grateful, but you didn't say anything in the super chat. So now I feel guilty. Oh my God. So guilty. Sorry. I don't know how to process that. Anyway, moving on. I mean, I feel bad. I feel like I shouldn't move on, but I got to move on because you didn't say anything. And okay. Oh yeah, here's one. MSRB 21 says loose versus lose. Very good one. Let's see here. David Gilman says he's chubby too. That's fine. I'm a little bit. Okay, I'm a lot chubby. Not a bit chubby. Eric Del Cruz says, act like Jim Carrey, but look like Jack Black. See, Papa Gal, Anthony, you tend to not get to the point, tell your side stories, your topic are women. Yeah, okay. All right, so these comments are piling up a little bit faster. First time seeing you live. Cool biz and food on me. You're awesome. Okay, so I'm going to sort of leave off on the comments for a little while so I can get back to this. But I will get back to the comments, I promise you. So back to my prepared remarks. So women in the Philippines, I have had a lot of experiences on this. My very first experience. Now, I didn't start dating immediately when I went to the Philippines. I actually waited like a year, and that was for many reasons. And that, the main reason was I was just fresh out of separating from my ex-wife. And that was a whole train wreck of a thing I don't want to get into right now, but maybe I'll make a video on that one day. But anyways, so I was just fresh out of that. I was not mentally or emotionally ready for that. And so I just didn't for a long time. And about, I don't know, a year or so after I got to the Philippines, I just decided, it's about time for me to, get back out there, whatever. And so one of my first experience was with someone who I would consider to be a passport chaser. Here's why. Okay, we met on Tinder, and it was my very first date with this woman. And she straight up asked me, within, 20 minutes of us starting our date, without provocation, if you move back to the States, will you take me with you? Now, immediately the answer for me is, oh, I don't really know you well enough to answer that question. But like from a virtuous place, like, if I'm let's say I am having a serious relationship with you, and whatever the case is, the answer should, for I would assume most people, be a default yeah. Like I can't imagine a virtuous person being like, yeah, so I'm gonna date you for like 3 to 5 to 10 years, but if I have to move back to wherever, you're just not coming with me. Like, I don't know. So, after some more parts of this date, it became very clear to me that this person was essentially just kind of, it wasn't just that question. This is what I need to make clear. It wasn't just that. It was the thing that tipped me off, like, something's not right here. And then as the night went on, I came to realize that, this person didn't necessarily see me as just a dating partner. They saw me as something else. And I don't know, it kind of made me feel like a chess piece, and I didn't like that. So that was the first and only date with that particular person. MSRB21 said that passport chaser is true. Tons of stories about that. Yeah, I mean, I really haven't wanted to talk about that up until this point because it is, it is a story that, you hear a lot. And I don't want to play into or, portray a bunch of negative stereotypes about, Filipinas and Filipinos, because Filipinas and Filipinos are some of the most amazing people that I've ever met. Like, some of the most awesome people I've ever met have been there in the Philippines, and yeah. So, I mean, I'm telling it here just as an, if you click, there should be an eye in the corner of this video somewhere. If you click that, you should see a video that I made specifically about dating in the Philippines. So this video should be sort of a companion to that, with a little bit more, some stories about all this, to sort of supplement that. Let's see here. Daniel C. I always make it a point to casually say that I'm never planning to go back to America. This helps me weed out the passport. Okay, passport chasers. Yeah, I mean, maybe. I don't know. I just kind of got into a situation where I realized that was what was kind of going on there, and immediately I just kind of called that off. Okay, so here's another bizarre one, and I don't think that this is common at all. But I would say that I ran across maybe 3 examples of this while I was there in the Philippines. One of them was my own, and 2 of them were actually on a friend of mine who we'll call, I don't know, Dick, like Dick Tracy. So anyway, I was once asked by a girl if I would take her home so she could sleep in my air conditioning. Now, first off, I'm kind of a shy guy anyway, and simply the fact that a woman is asking me to take her home, like that sets off all kinds of weird stuff in my head. Like, of course, there's that primal part of my man brain, my lizard brain, that's like, oh, yes, me like this. But then also there's also that weird shy part of my brain that's all like, I'm gonna mess this up, but I just don't know how yet. And then, adding on to that, so I can sleep in your air conditioning, like that adds a whole nother socioeconomic level to it that I don't really know how to process. Yeah, it's strange. And OS Original, thank you. I appreciate that. So let's see. What was I gonna say? So yeah, I have had this happen, and it's happened to a friend of mine a couple of times. So, like I said, hopefully that's not a common thing, but it's a thing that happened. Okay, next thing, groupies. Now, when I say groupies, I'm not talking about like in a rock and roll sense. So, this actually is a thing that happened to mainly my friend Dick. Okay, like Dick Tracy. Don't make that nasty and naughty. Dick was Dick was kind of like, I don't know, he was dating this girl, and she kept like bringing over her posse, her like friends and whatnot, and it got to the point where he was, he was paying exorbitant amounts of electricity bills because every time she would come over to stay the night or whatever, because they were dating and they were adults, they do what they do. She would bring like 4 friends that would sleep in his living room with the air conditioning on crazy high. Again, we're getting back to that whole like sleep in the AC thing. I don't know, but anyways, so and it wasn't just like the electricity bill. It was it was like food and that kind of stuff. I don't know. It just kind of went from him like inviting his girlfriend to move in to inviting his girlfriend to move in and her friends staying there 4 days out of the week. So I would say that may not be super common, but I would say simply because of my experiences with that, beware for anything like that, because I don't know. It might be a thing that you run into, or it might not. I don't know. Taking a look at the thing here. I heard of girls on the first date ask for expats to pay their water and electricity bills. I have never heard that one. I've never heard that. Renegade Show. Yeah, she sleeps in your aircon, and when you wake up, phone, wallet, and computer are gone. I mean, Renegade Show, I mean, of course, I've heard horror stories and stuff like that, but I have never run into that. Like, I've been lucky, but I do have a really messed up story coming up here in a few, having to do with something that might have turned out that way. Oh no, although we're not generalizing it, but it really happens. So MSRB 21, I kind of agree there. I mean, anything can happen. And though, I always try to, pardon me. Though I always try to, portray everything in the most optimistic light, there's always that, bit of self-caution that you should always have as well. Okay, Gabe. I have stuff about professional types here in a bit too. All right, so moving on. Okay, so some women in the Philippines will date an expat, and sometimes that reads as white guy. They'll date an expat as a status symbol. I'm fairly certain. Again, I can't guess on everyone's. What's the word I'm looking for? I can't guess on everyone's motives that I've dated or whatever. But I don't think that's ever happened to me. But it is something that I've actually had, Filipinas tell me, not that they've done, but like they're like, some girls do that because. So take that with a grain of salt. That could just be Filipinas talking smack about other Filipinas. I don't know. I don't want to get in that argument. I just need to throw it out there that it's a thing I've been told. So, just throwing that out there. Okay, moving on. Okay, this is super serial. Super serial. You think that the Philippines is a hot, warm country. And for the most part it is, except for up in the mountains. And like really, really nice nights like on the beach. But I need to say this. Men of the West, your hoodies are not safe. Women in the Philippines will steal your frickin' hoodies quicker than you can even hide them. Just like here. I don't understand it. Hoodies aren't very useful there, but they will be stolen. I mean, it's not really stolen. They will guilt you into letting them steal your hoodies. Super serial. Okay, moving on from that. Okay, so here's the thing. And now I have experience with this because I had a roommate, and I sort of had this experience myself at one point. But sometimes you will. Gabe Vasquez is like, I have lost 5 hoodies. So this is a thing that I've run into, and I've actually had my roommate run into, and even some of my expat friends, just anecdotally. Let's say you get into a committed relationship with a Filipina, and she stays the night. There is a very good chance you may wake up the next morning and she is doing your dishes or cleaning up your house, even though you didn't ask her to, and even though you maybe find it a little bit creepy. I can't really speak to why that is. I can tell you what I've been told, and I can tell you that what I've been told may be wrong. There's sort of a stereotype for Filipinas that they, like caring for, people, especially people they care about. That they like, that they've sort of been brought up to keep things neat and tidy and et cetera, et cetera. And that they see that as, adding some sort of like value to their presence there. Or they could just be crazy early risers and they're just waiting and they're bored and they're waiting for you to wake up. Because a lot of us Westerners aren't really early risers. There's probably it's probably one of those things where it's a different reason for everybody. And it's probably something you're not going to run into with every girl you date. And that's okay. But it is definitely a trend that was recognized with myself and some other expats while I was living in Eastwood. Let's see here. MSRB is like, maybe the hoodies are a fashion trend. Thank you so much, OS Original. You're awesome. I just gotta give you one of these. I don't know if that, does that look like a heart? I'm trying my best, man. Okay. So yeah, that's something that kind of struck me out of left field the first time it happened. And the first time it happened, it wasn't even someone I was interested in. It was actually my roommate who, had somebody stay over or whatever. And the next day, our kitchen went from having like 12 dishes in the sink and whatnot to completely spotless. Which, for 2 bachelors, I think that was the first time it had ever been spotless since we moved in. So, yeah. Okay, moving on to the next thing. Whoa, Gabe Vasquez says, pro level. Took this IT supervisor girl home and she bought takeout for the both of us every single time. Okay. Renegade Show says the term shall be commandeer your hoodie. Oh no, that makes it sound way too official. Makes it sound like governmentally sanctioned. Okay, so, alright, now here's a thing that I need to say. And again, this is based off of my experience and other people's, and even admissions of a couple of Filipinos. So this is not everybody. It's not a catch-all. This is just a thing that you may run into potentially. Generally speaking, sexually, the Filipinas and Filipinos are a little bit more inexperienced and or in some ways slightly repressed than what you may find in the West. Okay, when I say in the West, I'm really talking about US and Canada. There is sort of a culture in the Philippines about let's not talk about sex, let's not, that's, whatever. There's some religious under and overtones there, and that's totally fine, and I'm not looking to shame anybody, so please don't take it that way. But, there's that difference there. And that's a thing. So, I don't really have anything else to add other than it's just a thing. Let's see here what the comments have to say. Daniel C. says, some girls want to show that they aren't gold diggers by being generous with their money, I found. Okay. I'm going to tell a story later. When I get to talking about long-term, remind me about that. Because long-term is a nickname of one of the girls I'm going to talk about here in a bit. Okay. Let's see here. Blame the church for teaching sex as something dirty, says Anthony D. Eric Dela Cruz says, we Pinoys always talk about sex, don't know about your women. Oh, burn. When I say talk about sex, I'm not just talking about, whatever. I'm talking about the down and dirties of it. A lot of the, the women that, I've dealt with, either women I've dated or, women that I've felt close enough to, like, for instance, my roommate's girlfriends, things like that, where we were able to have these kind of conversations without it being really weird and awkward. I don't know. It just seems like sexual education, when it comes to, anything beyond the basic plumbing, things like that, not always something that, is really covered in school. There's a lot of abstinence-only education and things like that. Really all I have to say about that. Gabe says it depends. In his experience, they've been pretty experienced behind closed doors. Fair enough. Like I said, this is not a catch-all. This is not something that deals with everybody. This is just something that kind of needed to be said because it does affect some people, and you may run into it. All right, moving on. Filipinas. Now, I can't really speak for Filipinos. I've never dated any Filipinos. But Filipinas are generally very easygoing and very easy to get along with. You know what? There could be a billion reasons for this, but I'm not so much worried about why. I'm more happy that it's a thing. A lot of women here in the U.S. and Canada, they are... I don't know what the word I'm looking for is. Sometimes combative. Sometimes, they super have something to prove. But that's, at least my experience of some of my colleagues, not as much of a thing over there. Just kind of really chill, cool, fun to get along with people. Okay. Now for... let's see here. Freaky Flo says, hey, Anthony, your Canadian Facebook buddy with the Pina girlfriend. There's differences with Manila women use seeing Western men. And, that's a really good point. So in the, what's the word I'm looking for? I have a lot of experience with this dating stuff and whatnot. Not a lot. I make myself sound like a man-ho. I'm not. But I have experience dating mostly in Manila. I don't really have experiences out in the provinces. So that's a really good point that I should bring up. That, I'm only speaking from my experience and the experience of other dudes that live in the Philippines and some female-type women people who I got to give me some quotes and other things earlier. Okay. So, next thing. Okay, so this is again a very Manila thing. Hotel meetups are not outside the norm. Kinda. So let's say you get talking to a girl and whatever. There's a chance that, there may be a hotel rendezvous in your future. This can be for many reasons. One, it's not uncommon to live with your parents and or roommates or whatever until you're in your 30s or plus in the Philippines. So getting sort of alone time sometimes can be tough. Also, like for first dates, that could sometimes be, what's the word I'm looking for? Preferable to going to, let's say, your place, because at least, like no one has the home court advantage. Also, the great thing about hotels is, if you want to jump on the bed, you can jump on the bed. That's all I'm saying about that. So, you know, just keep in mind that, you know, I don't know. I have trouble talking about this because, you know, this is something that I've sort of been told. I've only really experienced it with, you know, one girl that I was dating who preferred to do things that way, whatever. So I don't know if it's normal or just not unnormal. See here. Some of my commenters may be able to help light some, put some light on the subject. A lot of great comments, none having to do with this particular thing yet. So, yeah, I guess I'll kind of leave it there. Other than to say that there are actually entire chains of hotels in the Philippines that are pretty much known for catering to this kind of thing. And even some that you can book a room on your cell phone, like with an app, without ever having to talk to a person. It's a whole culture thing. It's, I don't know. I'm not giving anyone hotel recommendations, Gabe. Okay. All right. So now I want to tell you about a couple of one and dones, which means I went on a first date and I never went on another date. First one is actually somebody that I sort of hinted at earlier when I was talking about passport chasers. A girl, legitimately, she asked me, if I had a U.S. passport. She asked me if she could see it for some reason. Which, I mean, you know what? I can't really blame her for wanting to see it, because I'm always curious when I meet someone new and they've got a different passport. Like, ooh, what's different? Yeah. But that combined with all of the other things, like when she asked me if I would take her back to the States and yada yada, I don't know. It just kind of led to one and done. This is your first date. This is your last date. Now, here's a really strange one. So I met this girl on Tinder, and she's like, whatever. We talked for like a week, and then she's like, can I come over tonight? And I'm like, I really can't do date night, whatever, because honestly, I had a bunch of crap going on at work at the time. And she's like, no, I want to come over. I'm like, whoa, for a first date. Again, there's that little man part of my brain. It's like, ugh, me like this. But there's the rational part of my brain going, something's not quite right here. So I cautiously, I'm like, I mean, I guess. And then I find out she wants to bring her sister. And then I find out that, she, there was something else really weird. And it kind of reminded me of this story that I've heard, this, cautionary tale about a woman or, whatever, coming over and then claiming that you did X, Y, and Z or whatever in order to extort money from you. I don't know. The whole thing just didn't smell right, whatever. I ended up telling her that she had to sign in at the guard's desk downstairs. And I asked her if she was, okay with the household security cams, which we totally didn't have at the time. That's just for security purposes. And I don't know. I mean, on one hand, yeah, on my side, that kind of sounded a little bit sketch. But on her side, the fact she was bringing her sister over for a first date sleepover situation, there were just way too many red flags. So I had to start throwing, bombs into that so that, she would just be like, oh, no, never mind. I'll go scam somebody else. Or, oh, no, never mind. You're kind of creepy. Bye. So that's what ended up happening there. Let's see here. Gabe Vasquez says, I'm just going to say that the girls with better intentions use OkCupid. Hirosa says, I'm just so glad that there's no more ghosts on your side today. I'm using a slightly different setup. Thank you for noticing. So when I did those, I was doing it on my phone, and I found out that the reason that happens is I actually have a crack in my camera, like on the phone. There's a crack that goes through it that causes that weird ghostly image. It's weird. Okay. Renegade show, yes and no. I mean, yeah, I guess. See here. I met my girlfriend in Canada last year. We went to PH. You ever notice you get looks? Yes, freaky flow. I have noticed that. You'll get, depending on where you're at, you're gonna get looks just because some people either very rarely or almost never see somebody like you. You know, it's like kind of like you seeing a purple people eater. You know, it's like, I don't know, it's something that makes you turn your head. In a weird way, you kind of get used to it. And in a weird way, after some time, it kind of ends up feeding your ego. Hopefully, that doesn't happen to you. It happened to me for a little while. And then I'm like, yeah, no, I got better things to worry about. But then after I started doing the YouTube thing, there was always that weird, like, are they looking at me because I do YouTube and they think they recognize me? Or are they looking at me because I'm just some random white dude? There was that weird little bit of paranoia for me. And which sucks because I have no idea. When the very few times that people do walk up to me and they're like, hey, I watch your content, I see your stuff on YouTube. You know, I have no idea how to react, and I always panic. I'm just like, thank you. I have the word, oh, that's a whole nother video I gotta make at some point. I react so badly, and I need to work on that. Let's see here. Major Triad says they're always dubious. Seeing a Filipina with a foreigner, kind of sad. Not quite sure what you mean, but they're definitely. Yeah, there are some stereotypes when it comes to like Filipinas and expats together. Very good point, Eric. Very good point. Okay, so moving on. So, oh, okay. Oh my God. So, I've never talked about this on video before. Never. This is probably going to be the one and only time that this is ever going to be mentioned on video. I met this girl online. And, you know, she was, you know, just talking big game, and, you know, she wants to do this, that, and the other thing. And, you know, she wanted to go out on a proper date, but she wanted to meet up at, you know, XYZ, you know, hotel first, and then drop off our stuff, and then, you know, go on and do the food thing and all that. And, you know, it was, with traffic and all that, it was about a 6-hour drive for me to get there. So, you know, it kind of made sense at that point, because if I got to deal with 6 hours worth of traffic there, then go and do stuff, it kind of makes sense before you drive 6 hours back in frickin' Manila traffic to just stay at some point. You have nothing better to do. So I'm like, okay, fine, whatevs. Anyway, we get there, and she's on some pay-to-play stuff. This was not mentioned before, you know, whatever. This was just, I arrive, and all of a sudden, she's like, I have a price list. I'm like, whoa, no. At which point, I did brave. Actually, I think on the way back, it was only like 2 hours traffic. because, like, you know, traffic had died down or whatever, because after a certain anyway, Manila traffic sucks. That's all I'm saying. Sometimes it can take you 6 hours to get one way and 2 hours to get the way back, or less. So where was I? Oh yeah, that's a thing that happened. I have no idea if it's a common enough thing to worry yourself about, but like, throwing out there honesty, apparently it happens, or at least it happened once. I don't know. Comments. Major Triad says he won't even venture driving around Metro Manila. Too scary. Yeah, no. I get you. Okay, so now let's talk about some of my exes, my actual exes. Let's see, how long have we been live streaming now? I have no idea. Oh goodness, we're almost at an hour, so I need to go ahead and buzz through this. So, okay, let me tell you about one. Now, again, repeating for the people who weren't here earlier, we're using nicknames. Nicknames for all these people, because I'm not using real names, because that just totally wouldn't be fair, because every side has 2 stories and I can only tell you mine. Okay, person number 1, using the nickname Long Term. Long Term was well educated, spoke perfect English. In fact, she shared a lot of the same growing up experiences I did in pop culture. Things like growing up on Nickelodeon and things like that. She went to international schools. She was, you know, by most counts, she was almost damn near perfect. And I say that with all, you know, with the benefit of hindsight. Actually, I even kind of knew it at the time. She seemed like a very loving and caring person. She made time for me when I needed it. She was there for me when I needed it, and vice versa. Her family took me in. Her mom was a doctor, and rather than calling her mom Dr. So-and-so, she allowed me to call her mom, or they were like, just call me Mudra, or Mudra. Still confused about the pronunciation there, but essentially. And I don't know. So, Long Term, as you could probably guess by the name, was kind of a long-term type person that I dated for a long term. And yeah, I did mostly for all, what do you call it? For all intents and purposes, I fell madly and deeply in love with this person. Come to find out, after dating this person for quite some time, that I had been lied to about some things. And that, you know, she had, like, for instance, created an account claiming it belonged to another person, one of her haters or detractors or what have you, and that person didn't exist. And that this person, who was supposedly her cousin, technically existed, but the accounts contacting me belonged to her IP address. And some other things. Just very emotionally manipulative, where it totally wasn't really necessary. Which was a total, this is the end, this is sorry, which really freaking sucks. Because I actually went to all the trouble to get my birth certificate, my divorce certificate from my first wife, and all that stuff, because I was prepared to ask her the big question. I was preparing to ask her the big question when I found out that all this other stuff was going on. And that really kind of hurt me. That hurt me pretty darn big. But, you know, it is what it is. Long term, I mean, honestly, it was a wonderful, wonderful relationship. And other than sort of the way it ended and the circumstances, those, couple of negative things I told you, it was amazing. And I wish everybody could have a relationship like that at least once in their life. Um, I got to try all kinds of new food. She and I traveled together. She supported me in the YouTube stuff, even though she didn't quite, always get what it was I was doing. I mean, she did, if she was a bright woman, but, on the level of, understanding from a peer level, that wasn't there. But, all the support and whatnot was totally there. Okay, before I go on to another anecdote, let me look here in chat. Let's see here. Yeah, Gabe. Yeah, that was. You're right about that. Yeah. So major triad. That's one of the main reasons why I want to. That's why I want to tell all of these stories, because you know what? Yeah, sure, there are some bad ones, but there are also some amazing ones too. And, we can't just let only the bad stories get out, which is usually what happens. I don't usually tell people when I had a good or, like a normal or whatever experience. Usually you only tell people about the stuff that sticks out, the bad stuff, which is why I'm trying to do my best to be as fair as possible and, tell about everything. Ouch, Eric. I'm sorry to hear that. Gabe is like, preach! Okay, so let me go ahead and tell you about, so after the thing with long term fell by the wayside, I met another very well-spoken, sort of doctor in training type nursey girl. And we'll call her Travel Lover, because she loved to travel. It's not the only thing she loved to do. So Travel Lover, she had a quite high libido, which you would think every man in their, the caveman part of their brain, they're like, oh, me like that. Which, don't get me wrong, was enjoyable. But, I don't know. She, like I said, she loved to travel. She was super duper smart, kind of passive in a way, little bit reserved, one of those, as they say, lady in the streets type things. And by that, I don't mean prostitute. I mean she was a proper lady, and honestly, I'm not like 100% sure why things fell apart with her. There was this weird thing where we didn't talk for a little while, and then there was this thing where we talked, and then I never heard from her again. I don't know. But yeah, that was amazing on a lot of levels, because she was very supportive in all of the YouTube stuff. She totally got it. She fancied herself to be sort of an Instagram, type person. And, she loved to travel and take pictures and whatnot. But, yeah, I don't know. We clicked on some very interesting levels. And I don't have a bad thing to say about her, other than, like, as with a lot of the women that I've dated in the past, I think maybe there was a teeny tiny little crazy streak. Teeny tiny. But then again, pretty much all the women I've ever dated have a crazy streak in them. Maybe that's what I'm attracted to. I don't know. Okay. Let's see, let's check chat here before I move on to the next one. Next chance, go back to the Philippines, head out of Manila, and keep your eyes open. Freaky flow, I agree, totally. Honestly, I'm trying to get my way back to the Philippines as best I can. I just need to figure out how that's going to work. Nauseous Crayon, how you doing? Haven't seen you in a while. Oh, okay. Wait a minute. Okay, so yeah. Okay, actually, I will say this. So the travel lover that I was talking about, the girl who loved to travel. So there was a situation where I was convinced I was going to leave the Philippines because some stuff at work, whatever, visas and all that stuff. So she and I actually broke up once. And it was interesting because it's in my life, I have never had this feeling before. But she was basically like, can we, one more time? And we weren't breaking up on bad terms. It was just kind of like, look, I got to go my way, you got to go yours, because I'm packing my suitcase and going back to the other side of the globe. Or at least that's what I thought I was going to be doing. And so, of course, I was like, yeah, let's do that one more time. But I had never felt that before in my life. Like, I don't know. I'm just so used to women in my life. I don't even want to say in the States, but in my life, like, not valuing that part of a relationship and not feeding that part of my ego. So that was strange for me. And as I will tell you here in a bit, it's not an isolated situation. There are others too. Okay, so Anthony, you need to look up the Hot Crazy Matrix. I have heard of this. I refuse to do it on my channel though, unless I have relevant reasons. Okay, so now let's talk about the Snugla. This is a Filipina that I dated who essentially, it wasn't really, any sort of sexual relationship. But there was a heavy, we'll call it a snugglationship going on. Where, like, I don't know, sometimes you just don't want to fall asleep alone. Sometimes you just want somebody next to you. Sometimes you just want to fall asleep with somebody on your arm. Like, it gets really tiring and whatever to just, I don't know. So the Snugla was, she filled that need for me. And she was also, she loves to cook. She threw in a helping hand with, the vlog for a while. She was just like an amazing, I'll say, friend plus, because it's not like a friend with benefits type thing. It's just friend plus. Like, I don't know how many friends I snuggle with. Probably none. Like, my dogs don't count. But, and she was also, very well educated, not like, from a prestigious, university like De La Salle or anything. Well, maybe just as prestigious, but not De La Salle specific. Anyway, moving on. So you know, it wasn't like that, but, you know, this was also, like, I don't know. It was somebody who I considered myself to be intellectually, you know, stimulated by and whatnot. Hello, my friend Queen Sunshine. Visit you. I'm your fan, my friend. Hi, Sunshine. Okay, so that pretty much covers most of mine. Now, I sort of earlier I spoke about my friend Dick, as in Dick Tracy. We talked about how his girl would bring in a posse, a group of friends to his house and eat up whatever food was in the house, and increase his power bills and whatnot. So I won't repeat that, other than to say that you should, if you didn't see the earlier part of this video, you should probably go back and watch that, because there's a lot of context there you may be missing. All right. So let me talk to you about this. I've got this friend named Steve. Again, remember, we're talking about fake names. So Steve, he dated this girl named Susan, and Susan legitimately, when they broke up. Okay, now, so when they broke up, it was a situation where she had a job offer in, I don't know, I'm going to make up a place, Dubai or something, right? And, like, she was basically telling him, like, stay here for you. And he was, kind of like, yeah, no, you probably shouldn't do that. You're going to regret that for the rest of your life. So he actually ended up breaking up with her so that she could run off to Dubai and take that job opportunity. Did I say Dubai or Dubai? I don't know. Anyway, so she could run off to Egypt or wherever the hell and take that job opportunity. And so essentially he broke things off with her, and then she was like, can we, one more time? And of course he fell for it. Of course, I can't say shit. I fell for it too. But he fell for it. And then they ended up going out for like another week after that. Or I don't know, a couple days. And finally he's like, no. Seriously, we need to break up. You need to go off to Bangladesh, or, I don't remember what country it was she was going to, but it was a different country for her job. And, and then she's like, oh, but no. And he realizes that she's going to keep doing this. So he rounds up the few things that she has still left in his place, and he takes it down to security, and he's like, yo, security, if, what name did I give her? Susan comes by, and, just give her stuff and do not let her up. So, of course, Susan shows up, and Steve is at my house, or my condo. And then he is, basically hiding out in case she somehow gets upstairs. So walks past security because they're busy, goes up the stairs instead of the escalator, or the elevator, rather. Who knows? But he knew that she was kind of crafty. Anyways, she didn't get up that way. But our boss, Mark's girlfriend brought her upstairs so that they could talk it out. Now, under normal circumstances, I would totally be in the talk out your problems camp. But seeing as this was like breakup number, I don't know, 3 to 5, something like that, it was obvious that this was not going to happen. Now, this was in my condo, this last conversation. I was in the living room, and then they were in my bedroom, which was totally creepy. And I was actually scared that he was going to give in, and I was going to have to change my sheets that night. But she seriously wanted to, And he had basically figured out that, no, that's just, no. Because he would continue with the relationship, because morally speaking, he could not bring himself to, like, just ditch in that way. So like, yeah, she was very much looking for that breakup booty. Okay. Let's see here. Let me check chat. I haven't done that in a while. You know, yes, Sunshine, yes, I have. I'm not sure if I recorded it, though. That might have been one of those trips I kept just for me. Let's see here. Did you go to Lawag? Yes, I actually have videos on this channel about that. Okay, so moving on. Okay, so one last major thing that I want to discuss in this, what's become a very long stream at this point, an hour and 10 minutes. So there is this thing that you're told a lot of times in the Philippines that is true and can be untrue. Give me 1 second. So I was told many times that if you date the girl, you date the barangay. Which, if you only speak English, you don't know what a barangay is. I mean, basically, you date the girl, you date the village. Probably, like, you know, decent way to put it. You date the girl, you date the family kind of thing. Which is very true in some families. Not so much in others. And sometimes it can really just depend on the relative or person you're talking about. So let's say you're dating, let's say my relationship with long term that we spoke about earlier. Yeah, I was kind of expected to do things like carrying groceries. And I was expected to do little things here and there. Carry bags to and from hotel rooms. Yeah, I'm that big, strong guy. That's my role. That's what I'm expected to do. But like other things, no. You know, I was very fortunate that a lot of the girls that I dated or went out with while I was there were like strong, independent women's. That, you know, a lot of them either didn't need, you know, financial help from me. And that was amazing for me, because at the time, it's not like I had a whole crap load of money just laying around. I mean, maybe comparatively speaking, but, you know, anyway. My point is that the advice that when you date the girl, you date the barangay, is something that it's something that is going to be true to different extents for different people, and you should definitely feel that out. Don't assume that, you know, each relationship is going to be like the last, or that, you know, whatever. And you're going to want to feel out the extent of that, and really sit down and have that discussion with your significant other. Say, you know, when I meet your family, when I meet your parents, what is expected of me? You know, I've sort of, from the outside, I've experienced, like, you know, my friends, you know, sometimes, you know, they are the guest in the house and they are expected to stay and do nothing, just kind of sit there, and, you know, they're not expected to help with anything, to, you know, whatever. Sometimes in some families, you know, they'll cook and they expect, you know, you and your significant other to do the dishes, whatever. You know, it's that kind of thing. Sometimes it goes even further. Like, you know, sometimes it'll go into financial support and all that. And you need to answer yourself how you feel about that. Because that does sometimes play into the stereotype that just because you're an expat, sometimes if you read into that white person, depending, you may end up you know, being expected to help out in that way. And that's why it's very important communication with anyone you date, regardless of where they're from. Have that talk, have that discussion. You know, what is expected of me? You know, what is expected of, you know, us as a couple? You know, who expects what? What do your parents expect? What do your brothers and sisters expect? How am I, you know, how am I supposed to act? What kind of things am I going to be invited to, and what do I do with them? I was very, earlier in the stream, I was talking about how a girl that we named Juviana, she loves, with her expat boyfriend type person, she loves sharing Filipino culture. And one of the things that I was exposed to through one or more of my exes is there's All Souls Day, which is not really something that I was ever exposed to here in the States, but it's a big thing there. And I was invited to the family celebration of that one year, and like I kind of had to sit down with the person I was dating at the time and go, I don't understand this custom. I don't understand this holiday. I don't understand my position in it. How do I act? How do I react? How do I, you know, what's expected of me? Those are always very important conversations to have, even if you are in the same culture as the person you're dating. You know, communication is key. All right, going back to the comments. Let's see here. Eric De La Cruz says, different strokes with different folks. Just ask them if they need your hand on things. Nauseous Crayon says, I think stereotypes is only present with people from the provinces. Most people in Manila doesn't believe that whole white guys have money thing. So, Nauseous Crayon, I wish I could give everybody that same, like, level of, like, benefit of the doubt. But as I discussed in my video, sort of talking about how foreigners are treated in the Philippines, there are definite economic things that come up into play there. Like, for instance, in trips to malls, you can almost assume as an expat that as soon as someone either sees you or hears your accent, if the prices aren't marked on something, they're going to go up a little bit once they hear or see you. In fact, on several occasions, I've been shopping. I'll use Green Hills as an example because almost nothing is marked at Green Hills. You know, I've been told by people I was in there with, like, no, you go over there, and when we're done shopping, you know, we'll meet back up. Because they knew that having me around was bad for their pocketbooks. You know, I mean, I kind of hate to say it, but that is sort of a stereotype slash racist-y thing. And it does affect people. So yeah, I mean, those stereotypes, again, not everybody's going to judge you like that. And, you know, and I hope that it's only the minority of people who do, but it's also important. Yeah, it's really important for people to be aware that that kind of thing can happen and how to spot it when it does happen. Not that it's super rampant, but just, you know, keep your guard up type thing. My Hawaiian shirts, oh God, I've bought them throughout the years, all over the place, man, all over the place. Okay, so we are pretty much here at the end of. I am out of things. I have read all of my notes, all of my things. What do you think? What do you have to say? Any final comments before I end this stream? I'm going to go ahead and let those go for a second. Just go ahead and gather up a few comments while I just kind of say thank you to everybody watching this. I really super duper appreciate it. Today, I got my very first super chat. I have never gotten one before. That was amazing. And that was, let's see, by OS Original. I appreciate you. Thank you. You're awesome. Yeah. Also, I'd like to thank the people who I've been emailing and messaging on Facebook and whatnot. Oh, by the way, I'm currently banned on Twitter for reasons I don't know. So, just letting you know, if you follow me on Twitter, the reason I haven't been tweeting anything is I'm banned. Currently trying to work that out. That's fun. Magandang gabi. Yeah, let's see here. So, also, your attitude will greatly affect how people treat you. That is so true. Renegade Show, thank you for bringing that up. That is something that, you know, I hope kind of comes across in, like, maybe the subtext of what I've already said, but I do need to go ahead and state it, like, concretely right now. That's true. You know, how you treat other people will help influence how they treat you. And that's not just in the Philippines. That's not just when you're traveling. That's life. You know, that whole golden rule, treat others how you would be treated, or however it's said. I suck at that. Yeah, totally. Oh, Lucky's message went away. I have no idea what they said. Sunshine says, I can tell you're awesome guys, and Knife's live stream, Queen Sunshine, love it. And I hope to see you again in the Philippines. You are welcome here if you'd like to visit in Ilalo again. Oh, thank you. Gabe says he had fun. I am totally gonna do more streams. Probably shorter ones than this. I don't know yet. I gotta see how everything works out. Nauseous Crayon says Trump blocked him. You know, I heard a thing, and I'm not entirely sure if it's true or not. Maybe you can look it up. But I heard a thing saying that he can't block people anymore. I don't know about the people he's already blocked or whatever, but something having to do with, I don't know, laws or legal stuff that he's not supposed to block people. Oh, it's original. I thought you left. Let's see here. Let's see. Eric says he doesn't have Twitter. OS Original says he's working on how this name thing works. I think it's in your Google Plus stuff. It kind of depends. Some accounts are different ways depending on when you signed up and all that stuff. I'm really looking forward to the Philippines Renegade Show. I hope that you have an amazing time. I hope you also like film bits of it, even if it's on your phone. I filmed so much vlog content on my phone. I know you can do it too. Not just for yourself, for fame and fortune. No, I mean maybe that too if you want to. I'm not judging, but like, it's so weird. Some of the best, like, okay. I can't tell you how many times that I've only remembered stuff because I filmed it. Like, you know, I was talking to my mom the other day and she's like, oh, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, did I ever do that? And she's like, you made a video about it, you dork. And I watched it, I'm like, oh my God, yes. And yeah, it was several years ago, but you know, make videos for you. Even if they're unlisted on your channel or whatever, just do it for you. You'll thank me in 5 years, I promise you. Lucky. That's a good question. But that's going to be for another video, because that's a kind of a long one. Major Triad. I learned a little bit of Tagalog. And let's see here. I learned a little bit of Tagalog. I also made a point while I was in vegan. I learned a little bit. Sorry, vegan. I made a point to learn a little bit of the language there, specifically because I wanted to make a video, sort of. You know, even though I wasn't by any means a master of the language, I wanted to kind of convey what little I knew, because I thought it was kind of cool, fun, and interesting. Renegade, if I can give you a little bit of advice, the GoPros should be perfectly fine. Anytime I've ever broken out the DSLR, like outside of like confined, like super controlled circumstances, it's been a huge hassle just to, but the GoPros are awesome, and you may have different experiences, but like I always just find the GoPros are so much easier because you can toss them around. You don't have to worry about the lenses and caps and blah, 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 blah. Yes, Ilocano. That's the word I was missing. Anthony D says Major Triad, look at his tongue twister. Oh God! No. Okay, yes, please do watch that video. Self-plug if you want to see some of my photos from the PH. Yeah, Gabe. Gabe, do me a favor. Send me your Instagram in my email. If you go on the About page of my YouTube channel, you'll find my email. Send me your Instagram link, and I'll take a look, and if it suits what I'm doing here, then I'll put that up on my community tab here on YouTube. See if we can, you know, get you a shout out. Anyways, oh wait, I keep trying to say goodbye, but I can't. You guys are so awesome, and you keep talking. Renegade Show says the reason I am visiting the Philippines is my grandpa jumped out of the back door of a C3. Yeah, I don't know what any of that is. Swam to shore and fought all the way to Manila. I went to see what he saw. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Your grandpa was he was a badass. Okay, I think I'm going to end it there, though. I don't think we can beat Grandpa being a badass like that. All right, well, I hope that this video has been helpful for you. I hope that it's been entertaining a little bit. I hope that you found something in it that means something to you in some way, shape, fashion, or form. I also hope that, you know, I don't know. I just kind of hope that you find some kind of value in what it is I'm trying to do here. Yeah. Till next time, don't forget to like, subscribe, and do all those things that make me love my job. Also, be awesome to yourself and amazing to each other. Bye. See, here's that really weird part where I have to, like, still be on stream because there's supposed to be, like, little icons over here and stuff, like when this turns into a video, and I don't really want those cut off. I'm such a dork. Alright, shutting the video off right about now. Now, how about now? Now, how about now? Should I do it now? How about now? How about now? Now, huh? Yes, no, maybe.